Let me start with something uncomfortable. If understanding yourself were enough, your life would already look different. You wouldn't still be freezing in the same moments. You wouldn't still be saying yes when your body is screaming no. You wouldn't still be ending up in the same relationships just with a different face attached to it. And you definitely wouldn't be watching this video. Here's the frustrating part. You're not unaware or ignorant. You're not emotionally asleep. You already know where this started. You know who didn't listen, where things felt unsafe. You know when you had to grow up too early, stay quiet, or become useful to survive. You can explain yourself brilliantly. And yet, when it matters most, something takes over. You freeze, you fawn, you defend, and you disappear. And afterwards, you ask the same question again. If I understand all of this, why am I still doing it? Most people never say that out loud, but it's the question underneath everything, and the answer is not flattering. It's not because you're broken, it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you haven't found the right insight yet. It's because you're trying to change the wrong system using the wrong tool. And until you see that clearly, nothing actually changes. So I'm going to talk about how to do that in this video. Here's the first thing that needs to be said plainly. Awareness does not stop automatic behavior. You can know exactly what's happening and still be unable to interrupt it. You can say, I'm people-pleasing right now, I'm avoiding, I'm shutting down, I'm getting defensive, and still do it. This is the part that annoys intelligent people the most. Because we've been taught explicitly that once you see a pattern, it should dissolve. That insight equals freedom. But if that were true, therapy would work in just a few sessions. Books would fix people, podcasts would change lives permanently. So what's the truth? Because they don't. Here's why. In the moment a reaction happens, no decision is being made by our thinking mind. It's not being made by our values, our adult self, nor by our intentions. The decision is being made by our nervous system. And our nervous system does not care how much we understand. It only cares about one thing, safety. It learned what safety meant long before we had language, reflection, or self-concept. So when people say, I know better, but I still do it, what they're really saying is, my thinking mind understands something my body does not yet trust, and it's adding value and protecting me. That gap is where frustration lives. This is where most psychology gets it subtly wrong. We keep asking, why do I do this? And that's an intellectual question. The more useful question is, what does my system need this for? Because every repeated behavior, even the ones we hate, worked at some point. In those times, freezing wasn't weakness. It was intelligent when speaking was dangerous. People-pleasing wasn't dishonesty or manipulation. It preserved connection when disconnection felt like death. Control wasn't arrogance. It reduced chaos when unpredictability hurt. And withdrawal wasn't avoidance. It kept us intact when closeness overwhelmed us. And these were not bad habits. They were solutions. The problem is not that our system is broken. The problem is that it never got the update that our life had changed. So now we're trying to reason with something that operates faster than thought. That's like trying to stop a reflex with a lecture. It simply doesn't work. And the more we try to override it with willpower, the more aggressive the system becomes, the more reactive we are. Because from its perspective, we're threatening safety. Here's something most people don't want to hear. The smarter you are, the easier it is to stay stuck. Because thinking becomes your primary defense. When something feels uncomfortable, you analyze it. When you react, you explain it. When you fail, you intellectualize it. And it feels productive in the moment. But thinking is too slow. Our nervous system reacts in milliseconds. The thoughts arrive only a few seconds later. So what usually happens is this. The reaction fires, then the mind explains it, then the explanation becomes our identity. I'm just like this. This is my attachment style. It's my trauma. This is my personality. I'm an angry guy. That story feels clarifying, but it locks the loop in place. Because now we're trying to change our behavior by debating the aftermath. And nothing upstream shifts. This is why people spend years working on themselves and still collapse in the same moments. Not because they didn't try hard enough or because they didn't think enough, but because no one taught them how the system actually works. This is the real gap. No one taught you how a reaction actually forms, when choice ends and automation begins, how the body decides before the mind, how to separate who you are from what once kept you safe, or how to tell intuition from protection. So you did the only thing available. You thought harder. But thinking cannot re-educate a reflex. What changes behavior is recognition at the level the behavior is generated. Not forcing, not suppressing, not reframing. Recognition. When the system feels seen rather than attacked, it loosens. This is not mystical, it's physiological. A nervous system that no longer has to prove its usefulness begins to stand down. That's the mechanism most approaches miss. So let me give you something concrete, not a technique or a hack, a way of seeing. Next time a reaction shows up, instead of asking, why am I like this? Ask, what is this protecting me from right now? Then notice 3 things in this order. What's the body signal? That could be tight chest, held breath, heat, or collapse. Secondly, what's the impulse? Speak, withdraw, agree. And third, the perceived threat. Disapproval, abandonment, conflict, or shame. You don't need to stop anything in this process. Just map it. This alone begins to shift the relationship from identification to observation. Not I am this reaction, but this reaction is showing up to protect me. And that distinction matters more than most people realize. Here's where many people get stuck. They reach awareness, but without a functional map, awareness becomes another loop. They see everything, feel everything, but nothing moves. That's not because awareness is useless. It's because awareness without orientation creates overwhelm. That's why I built a very specific entry point. Not therapy, not a course, not motivation, but a decoder. Something that teaches you how to read your own system in real time. So you stop fighting reactions that are trying to keep you safe. And paradoxically, that's when they begin to soften. Most people feel relief quickly, not because they changed, but because they finally understood what they were living inside. Now, this is not for you if you want a quick fix, a mindset trick, or something to override your body. However, it is for you if you're tired of being intelligent but stuck, you feel like your body lives by old rules, you want clarity without self-violence, or if you're done with pathologizing what once served you. If while watching this something didn't feel lighter or heavier but clearer, pay attention to that. Clarity is often the first sign that the system feels recognized. The link below gives you the decoder I mentioned. It's designed to be entered, not consumed. Used, not admired. Not to remake you, but to stop living inside a system you don't understand and no longer serves you. When the function becomes visible, behavior no longer has to shout. It lets go slowly, without force, but for real. If you're ready to stop fighting yourself and start reading what's actually happening, click the link in the description.